Okay. Care is a spiritual practice. The whole concept of caring about everything in our lives. A banana that you just picked up in the store or off the vine. A dog on the side of the road who's been squashed, but you stopped and got it and buried it. A child who has on only socks, and you recognize the economic marginalization of that child and perhaps the self-esteem. You don't have to buy the child a new pair of shoes, but you could stop and say, "Hi, what's your name? You sure are cute. I bet you're really smart in school." That's all you have to do. Child won't forget. My husband's 85 years old, and he still remembers a short comment that a teacher made. He didn't know he was walking behind her in the school, in high school. He graduated a long, long time ago. He still remembers. And that's caring. That's caring. Same way as you think. I was thinking about this morning. When you care for your car, you change the oil and you check the transmission fluid, you check the water in the radiator, you check the spark plugs to make sure they're working, and then you wash the outside of the car, you vacuum the inside of the car. That's caring. It's a car. Do you do the same thing for your house or your roses or your vegetables or whatever it is that you interact with? I'll never forget, I had the opportunity to get my hands on this was a lot of years ago, on a VCR tape, you know, one of those big VCR, before they made CDs, big VCR tape. It was a section for couples. It was couples counseling. Some of the things that I've been involved in over the years. And the couples counseling was, a man was standing in a room of people. This is what we were listening to this. It was a live lecture that had been recorded. And he was holding a Stradivarius violin, obviously broken. One of the strings was up in the air and a couple pieces were kind of misshapen on the violin, but it was a Stradivarius. And he walked over to somebody in the front row and he asked them to put their hands out. And he laid the Stradivarius in their hands very gently. And he stepped back and he said, "That is a Stradivarius. That is something that all of us are probably aware is very valuable. For years, it's been known as being very valuable. It needs love and care, and sure, but it's still a Stradivarius. Is your partner, your wife, your sister, your best friend any less important? Should they have any less acknowledgement for their value? Any less respect? Do you know that when a spouse walks through the door and the wife is in the house, or whoever, husband, and the kids are running around, her shoulders immediately drop. Oh, thank goodness, somebody else is here. And do you yell at her, "It's dinner ready"? Or do you say, "Hi, honey, I'm glad to be home. How you doing? How was your day?" You get to choose, you know. You get to make that decision. And what decision you make makes a huge difference in what goes on between the two of you. How the relationship develops. And if there's one thing I've learned, one thing I've learned in nearly 8 decades, relationships. Nothing is more important than relationships. Could be relationships with your next door neighbor, can be relationship with your spouse, your child, principal at your kid's school. If you can maintain a positive relationship, a working relationship with just about anyone, it's real hard to fail in life. It's true. Why do billionaires hang out with billionaires? Because they have relationships, they understand each other. Why is it, this is a heavy one for you, why is it that when I work with folks in recovery, folks who have, for whatever reason, whatever pain has affected their lives, have made the choice to release that dependency or that addiction or at whatever level it may be. Somebody may say, oh, it's horrible, I drink 2 drinks every weekend. Or somebody else says, I smoke 8 cigarettes a day. Whatever it happens to be, it's their decision on where they think something needs to be done about it. But just having a relationship with other people online, think about it. We have 5 senses, and we can use hearing and seeing. We can't taste, touch, or feel. So we have to use words to describe how we would feel if we could touch one of them. We tell them we'd love to hug them. Taste, touch, or feel. But we can see them, and we can hear them, and they recover. And they recover because each of us encourages them. Care is a spiritual practice. It really is. It's a gift that cannot be given as money or a car or a house or a piece of land. It's not about stuff. It's about a touch. It's about a word. Hi, you sure are a cutie. What's your name? To a child. Or, oh, you look sad today. Is there something on your mind? Is something bothering you? Oh, you're tired of living. I can sure understand that. I can't tell you how many times in my life I felt the same. But you know what? There's always a reason to keep going. Could be a partner, could be a neighbor, could be a high school buddy who just was always close and haven't heard from in years, but that could be enough. Could be a dog, could be a house, could be an apple tree, could be a car, could be a parent, aunt, uncle, a sick friend that you've been caring for. It really doesn't matter, because you don't have to look too far before you find someone or something that depends on you. It's true. That's what makes care a spiritual practice, because you've got to care for yourself. You have to care for yourself. You have to love yourself. And it's hard. It's really hard when it feels like you're absolutely overwhelmed. You've got so many balls in the air, you can't catch them. And every time you think you've actually gotten something done, something else goes wrong. Understand that. And there's a lot of people feeling that way right now. Our world is topsy-turvy, to say the least. We've got wars all over the place. Threats all over the place. Things changing. Every time we turn around, something else is changing. Gosh, if there's one thing in life we really like, it's something solid, something we can hold on to. And that's where relationship comes in. Whatever it is, my dog just came running up. I know that if I touch that dog, my blood pressure goes down. Scientific fact. Touch the dog, blood pressure goes down. Science has told us that that's the way it works. Why is that? Because I have a relationship with the dog. I'm receiving from the dog unconditional love. He gets meat, bone, attention, gets what he wants. He gets a shelter, gets to lay beside me no matter where I am. My bed is his bed. Yeah, I know, I'm a little nuts. Comes from being an only child and only having animals to keep me feeling like I had something in my life. Relationship. And you can have a relationship with a rose plant. No kidding. Or an apple tree. Or a 1949 Plymouth you made $15 for. That's what I did. I paid $15 for a 1949 Plymouth, and I had a relationship with it. And I taught 5 kids about that car. 3 of my own and 2 stepkids. It was really funny. Until the brakes went out and they couldn't fix them. That doesn't work very well with 5 kids and an adult in the car, but it's a relationship. It's establishing some, like weaving a web, or like taking one of the nets that you pull up from the ocean with the fish in it. You wrap yourself around something, and it gives you a reason to live. Not going to be easy. Nobody ever said. I'll never forget, I was in college, and there were some things going on that were bothering some folks, and we were reading a book called I Never Promised You a Rose Garden. And at some point, and it's pretty heavy, it's about a gal who was put into a mental institution. And it was hard. And it was the story of how she finally was able to get free. But it was tough. And it turns out the reason the teacher had us read that book is because he knew the author, and he understood at a much deeper level what was going on. I always thought that was amazing, that he had a relationship with the author, so that when we read the book and had all of our comments about it, he had an insight into what was going on. How about if I have a relationship with the mountain that's behind me, or the one that's off to the side? Why not? I mean, if I feel like I need to be grounded, and when I get up in the morning, the first thing I want to do is look at one of those 2 mountains and just feel the enormous gratitude that I live close to them, that I can gaze at them, that doesn't matter which side I am on or how far away I am, if I can see it, I have a relationship with it. And why is that a spiritual practice? Well, keeps you alive, doesn't it? Keeps you aware. Spirit is a vague concept, but so is soul. And when I say, boy, I sure do. Oh, I'm thinking of the young man I work with. Boy, I sure do care so much about that young man because he has a pure soul. Yeah, I tutor a 17-year-old boy who is, I'm shocked at how much he feels, and he's able to tell me what he's feeling. I mean, most boys are, like John Wayne. They got they got sort of a Western type outlook on older folk. Not this young man. And he has a sensitivity. I'll never forget the day he said to me, we were discussing leadership, and he said how impressed he was with the current leader of Mexico. And I said, well, I sure was. I mean, her polls are showing her just so accepted. And I have lots of friends in Mexico because I used to live there. And when I ask them about her, they say, whoa, I mean, everybody is so impressed with this woman. And he said, I think the problem in the world is we don't have enough women presidents because women understand the needs of people. Wow. It just felt like somebody had cracked an egg on my head, and I felt it just spreading all over me. It was just this sense of my whole body going, I have just heard the wisdom from a 17-year-old boy. Actually, he was 16 at the time. He's an incredible young man. Incredible young man. I am so honored to be in the world where I get to meet with him and his twin sister. His twin sister is so funny because in the Latin families, of course, the male is number one. And she's every bit as smart as him and capable. And she's a phenomenal musician. But her social appearance is more refined, which has to do with the culture. She cares. She cares about so many things, but she keeps it more to herself. You have to kind of pull it out. She just passed her entrance exams for college, but I had to pull that out because it's a shyness, and that's part of that spiritual practice of care. We have to be really kind and aware. We have to be able to read people. We have to know when the little girl standing there in her socks is kind of embarrassed. But we don't pay attention to the socks. We ask her how she is. We ask her her name, and we tell her how pretty she is. Makes more sense. If we knew her better, we might take her and buy her shoes because we know we could get away with it without embarrassing her. Isn't that beautiful? To understand that just caring for another person is a sharing of the spiritual beauty of soul humanness, kindness, awareness. Keep that in mind. Got any questions for me? Put them down below. I'd love to hear from you. And while you're down there, check out my nonprofit. Over the years, several of us have dedicated our lives, 34 years, to a nonprofit. We'd love to have you look at it. 2 of us are artists. We have made items to remind you to take care of the earth. Check them out. And thank you for being here today.